People who've lied on their resume or during an interview. How did it go? Would you do it again? 1. I referred a friend to my company, and they made it through all the interview stages. They got an offer. After accepting, they went through the usual verification process, work history, schooling, references. Turns out, they had a small discrepancy. They listed that they were still employed at their last job. But in reality, their contract had ended 7 months earlier. They had worked there for 2 years but accidentally wrote 2 years and 7 months. HR rescinded the offer. The hiring manager liked them. Thought they'd be a great fit for the team. Didn't matter. HR patted themselves on the back for catching a liar and saving the company from hiring someone dishonest. 2. On my wife's resume, it says she graduated from college. She took all the required hours, but never technically got a degree. She makes well into 6 figures, and no one has ever asked about it. 3. The only lie on my resume happened because I quit the worst sales job of my life after 6 months. I had come into a little money, not life-changing, but enough to travel for a bit. Never updated my LinkedIn. 5 months later, I got recruited. The hiring manager told me, anyone who can survive that job for 6 months is someone I want on my team. The role required employment verification. Somehow, I skirted it. I was nervous as heck. It was an amazing opportunity, and I didn't want to blow it. Then, when I moved on from that company, the same thing happened again. Another verification check. Wrong dates. And again. I passed. I spent 3 weeks stressing, convinced they'd find out and rescind my offer. At this point, hopefully enough time has passed that the next time I job hunt, it won't matter. 4. Employers lie to you all the time. Lying on a resume isn't a big deal if you can do the job. 95% of people are just making things sound better anyway. I did it to get my first job, and within a short time, I proved to be a top performer. If my employer had found out about my lie after seeing my performance, they wouldn't have cared one bit. 5. I've been on the other side of this, too. I was interviewing a guy, and on his resume, he listed an uncommon language. I happen to know a few words in it. So, to break the ice, I greeted him in that language at the reception. He just stared at me. I tried again. Same blank look. Finally, I said, "You had this language on your resume." He hesitated, then admitted, "Well, sort of. My parents lived there, but they left before I was born. I don't actually speak it. I just thought it would look good." We still went through the interview. But at that point, he already looked like a fraud. Would he have gotten the job even without that? Probably not. But if it had been a close call? That lie alone would have lost it for him. 6. I've worked for some big-name companies. Most of them are so desperate for talent that their background checks only verify criminal records. Honestly? I look at it like gambling. If I listed every job I've ever had, no one would hire me. So I stretch the truth a little. Companies lie all the time, it's part of the game. I've never failed a background check. And, to be honest, most of my resume is adjusted. I get by because I know how to talk the talk. I blend my successes and failures together, and I present them well. Even things like achievements and quota numbers, no one actually checks those. Interviews aren't about facts. They're about how likable you are and whether you sound like you know what you're doing. It's all kind of dumb. Employers are the biggest liars of them all anyways, so let's just calm down, LOL. 7. My buddy worked for a solar company called Power Home Solar. It went bankrupt. He was only there for 3 months. But on his resume? He listed it as 5 years. Said he was there from start to finish. It got him a great tech sales job. As soon as he landed the role, he removed that job from his resume completely. He's never had an issue finding work since. 8. For about 18 to 20 months, I kept getting hired by companies that had extra hiring budget. They figured Arizona was growing fast, so they thought they needed a sales rep there. The problem? They didn't actually do any market research. I'd get hired. I'd flounder for 6 months. Then I'd report back, "Yeah, there's no market for this product here." One of these companies was even a Fortune 500 company. I spun the whole thing on my resume. Instead of listing them as jobs, I just called it independent consulting. Not one of those companies ever hired another sales rep in Arizona. One of them even gave me a reference letter, basically saying the same thing. 9. I have lied on every single resume and in every single interview I've ever had. Always out of need, never just for fun. Never got caught. Never will. Most of my lies were about how long I stayed at each job. If I lasted only 1 to 3 months somewhere, I'd stretch it to a year. Sometimes, I'd inflate my title. Say I was a manager when I wasn't. Did it matter? No. Because I could do the job. And I did do the job well. When asked why I left a job, I'd make up something sympathetic, something that would emotionally sway the interviewer. Look, we live in a tough world as job seekers. HR? They're not your friend. Their whole job is to protect the company, not you. So I stay 20 steps ahead. This isn't 1975. Corporate America will toss you aside after 20 years of loyalty. So yeah,